Can you get fat from healthy foods? Yes, of course you can. It's called the law of thermodynamics. Let me explain. This basically means that if you are eating more than you're expending on a daily basis, then that energy is going to get stored as fat. Whether this comes from burgers, donuts, chips, or this comes from fruit, veggies, and meats, it doesn't matter. If you're over consuming what you're spending, you're going to get fat. So we're going to touch on 7 healthy foods that may be making you fat, or they're hindering your progress. Before we do that, what do we classify as a healthy food? Basically, all whole food sources that contain good micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals. These are mainly grown on trees, out of the ground, or are some form of meat like chicken, fish, etc. So now you know that any food can cause weight gain if you overeat it. Let's get into the 7 foods. Number 1, acai bowls. One sec. They're so good though. Acai bowls can be absolutely packed with calories, depending on the ingredients, the size of it, and obviously where you get it from. And put this back for a sec, otherwise I'm gonna destroy the whole thing. For example, an acai bowl from Health Freak, which is a cafe in Perth, is not too bad. It only has about 437 calories according to their website. But in my opinion, I've had it, it's very small and it's definitely not filling. And even if you don't have a raging appetite like a pig like myself, it's probably not gonna fill you up for more than an hour or 2 and you're gonna be hungry again. But on the other hand, this absolute deliciousness from Acai Bros is 704 calories. Now this is a regular, can't remember what it's called, but it wasn't the highest calorie one. It also wasn't the lowest calorie one you can get. 704 calories for something like this. Yes, it's delicious. Yes, it's packed with good, healthy micronutrients, but it's not very high in protein and it's not gonna fill you up for very long, is it? Now, for example, if you were on, let's say, if you're a small female and you were on, let's say 1600 calories, that's your dieting phase, that's the calories you need to lose body fat, then one of those is nearly half of your daily intake. So if you're going down Sunday morning, you're getting a acai bowl with your friends, that's all good, but you just have to keep in mind that you've just nailed nearly half of your daily intake gone in a small superfood bowl. And not only that, it's very low in protein. So basically the rest of your day is gonna have to be nothing but protein. Now, before we move on, I love acai bowls. I love all these foods I'm showing you, and I am in no way, shape, or form telling you that they are bad foods, that you can't still get results and eat them. You can. I'm just showing you that a lot of these healthy foods, especially you're gonna see in a minute how some of them are marketed, that they are probably not the best choice if your goal is to lose fat. Especially if you're not tracking your calories and you're just snacking on these things, or you're eating these things throughout the day because you think they're healthy, they're gonna help me lose fat, you may want to think again. Number 2, nuts and nut mixes. The next time your parents are in the kitchen and they're reaching for their 12th handful of nuts and they're still complaining to you like, Alex, why haven't I lost any fat? Like, I eat so healthy, and they have a monster handful of macadamia nuts or walnuts, backhand them, all right? No, I'm just kidding. Don't backhand them, but you may want to send them this video. Shout out to my mum because she is notorious for this one. A small handful of nuts can average out at 200 calories for a handful of nuts. That's ridiculous. For example, 100 grams of macadamia nuts has 718 calories. Damn, probably crushed them. That's actually ridiculous. Now you can see why having a bag of mixed nuts or a little nut snack, Now you can see why having a bag of mixed nuts sitting in your work drawer snacking all the time is definitely not, it's definitely not a good idea. And if you're trying to lose fat, if you're trying to make progress, get rid of them, okay? I'm pretty sure I made my point clear with the nut set. Let's move on. Number 3, dates. Good old medjool dates. Now I love these. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that if you're bulking, if you're a hard gainer, if you do struggle to get your calories in, these are a great option. But for a healthy food, if you're trying to lose fat, like I said, especially if you're not tracking calories and you're just snacking on nuts and dates, get rid of these, okay? These have to go if you're not tracking and you're trying to lose fat. So to put this in perspective for you, about 4 dates has nearly 300 calories. Again, like, that's just ridiculous. 300 calories for that. Moving on, number 4. Dark chocolate. Now, I'm sure we all remember the dark chocolate and wine health craze when that came out. There was studies showing a lot about that. It was all over the papers, over the news, over social media, etc. And yes, there is good properties in dark chocolate and wine. Yes, they do have some health benefits, apparently. But I mean, 50 calories per square. I mean, if you're trying to lose body fat, you're trying to get lean, you're trying to make progress, then don't be eating this on a diet. Obviously, if you're tracking calories, you can fit any of this stuff. You can fit anything, but like I'm saying, 50 calories in that. For starters, not only is that such a waste of calories if you don't have many, Secondly, who's gonna eat one square? You're not just gonna go crack this off, eat it, and then I'll just put that back for later or tomorrow. Like, no. You're gonna eat at least a row, which is 2 at least, okay? Let's be real. Don't lie to yourself, all right? 50 calories. If you're not tracking, especially if you're on low calories, get rid of it. Number 5, coconut yogurt. Yes, I know I say yogurt instead of yogurt. Blame my dad for that one. Coconut yogurt is another one that it's not too bad, but it's still definitely not an ideal healthy choice if you're gonna have a snack or you're just gonna include it in your diet if you are trying to lose fat. It has about 164 calories per serve, and the serves are pretty friggin' small. Not only are the serves small, especially these flavored ones, the mango ones, if you've ever tried this before, it tastes so good. You're definitely not gonna have one serve. You're definitely gonna have multiple, and like, honestly, you could smash half a tub of that, no worries. My other thing with coconut yogurt is the protein to fat ratio. Now, one serve, yes, like we said, it's small, but it also only has 1 gram of protein to 12 grams of fat. So that ratio is so poor that, like, if you have a decent serve, it's all fat. You're probably gonna throw some fruit in there as well. So it's basically fats and carbs, no protein. That basically means you're not gonna be full or satiated for long at all. So again, within an hour or so, you're gonna be starving. Number 6, granola or clusters. This is what I was talking about when I was saying marketing. So basically, I just grabbed this one from Coles, but I did check, all the calories are roughly the same. You can see right there, it says food for health. Now again, granola may be packed with fiber. It definitely has some good micronutrients and benefits to it, but it is very, very dense in calories. So 100 grams of this is 467 calories. Now you gotta remember that's without adding like extras like yogurts and fruits. Like, you're not just gonna eat this dry by itself, are you? You're obviously gonna add either yogurt, fruit, milk, or all of the above, and that's gonna put those calories through the roof. Now I know you're probably thinking that, you know, unless you're a bit of a pig and you have a massive appetite like myself, you probably won't need 100 grams of it, but even one serve, which I will show you right now, is very small. A serve is 42.5 grams. It still has 200 calories in just that. Again, you chuck the fruit, the yogurt, the milk, whatever it is on top, and those calories go way up. So if you are including granola as a healthy breakfast option, you're not tracking calories, you're not getting any results, maybe one more item that you want to look at closer. Number 7, the almighty chia seeds and flax seeds. Now again, this one isn't too bad, mainly because you don't eat it in large quantities, but 100 grams of chia seeds has 428 calories. Per serve, only 64 calories, but again, per serve is 20 grams, which is absolutely tiny. You probably would have at least a couple of serves if you're making, or more than that, if you're making like a chia pudding, or, you know, you're just putting them in some smoothies or some health bowls or something like that. Those calories will rack up really quickly. The other problem I have with chia seeds and flax seeds is it is a terrible protein source, and I hate when people market this as, you know, I'm having high protein, I'm adding chia seeds to my meal. It's like, come on, that is not a high protein source. Yes, it may be a good fiber source, but don't use it as a protein source. For example, 100 grams of chia seeds only has 16.5 grams of protein. 100 grams is 3/4 of this bag. You're not gonna eat that in one go, and even if you do, 16 grams of protein is nothing. So you could eat 100 grams of chia seeds, or you could have half a scoop of protein, and it's the same. Now, the sneakiest health food, power food, Super Bowl of them all is where you take basically all of these ingredients, you get your yogurt, maybe even some acai, you get your nuts, you get your chia seeds, and you just dump that into a bowl, and then you get some, you know, dark chocolate and put it on top so it looks super pretty. Pumping with calories. This is what I like to call a calorie bomb, but a lot of cafes or in magazines, they'll call it a power food bowl or a super smoothie or something like that. What I'm trying to say is when you get all these ingredients in a decent amount, you throw them in a bowl, it's packed with calories, okay? Yes, it may have a lot of micronutrients, but again, if you want to lose fat, it's not a good option. Half the time you're better off going for like the eggs Benny that you really wanted, rather than going to the cafe, looking at the menu and being like, oh, superfood power bowl, that must be good for me. That must help me lose fat. The eggs Benny, the bacon and eggs, probably the same amount of calories, if not less, and it's gonna be high protein, it's gonna fill you up for a bit longer. You're gonna get more benefit out of that. So something to keep in mind next time you hit the Sunday breakfast bar. So guys, that is today's 7 healthy foods that you might want to keep in mind if you're trying to lose fat and you are struggling. Just to drive home that point one more time, if you guys aren't aware, I am a massive fan of fitting your favorite foods into your plan. So if some of these foods we spoke about today are your favorite foods, then yes, you don't have to get rid of them altogether, but you do want to make them fit. Whether that means tracking your calories or whether that means giving up something else you enjoy to fit that in, it's entirely up to you. Don't forget to hit the like button, let me know if this helped, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I will see you in the next one.